keep wanting to say like good morning, but it's nighttime. Hi guys. Been a hot minute. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. I think the stream title is the same, isn't it? I don't know. It should say ramen themed Twitch emote, but maybe I'm losing my mind. Anyway, we are down to like the last 4.5. I'm finishing them tonight. It kills me. Prepare yourself. It might. I hope everyone's been having a good week. I'm gonna start Ron. Hi, try hard. Oh, and hi, Spectre, by the way. Yeah, I hope everyone's been having a good week. I'm trying to think if anything interesting happened during my week. Oh, I got a call for to interview at a graphic design and print shop in the town that Art and I are moving to. Oh, I think in the notification I did change it. Yes, I'm still doing this. I'm finishing them tonight, and tomorrow we're gonna start on mermaids because I'm getting ready for Mermaid. And if you don't know what that is, it is Art's fault. Mermaid is a drawing challenge where it's very similar to like Inktober, which is kind of more well known and more popular, or Drawtober, where in Mermaid you try to draw a mermaid for every single day of May. So I'm gonna try and draw 31 goddamn mermaids with full backgrounds. I'm glad that you're doing better. Hi, At! How are you? Yes, we're gonna start drawing cute girls in no tops or some tops. It's gonna happen. That's why I'm prepping for it like a month early. So I can have like a buffer for it, and I can just swoop in and just post them all at once. No, I'm not gonna do that. He's being very supportive. He just also does not want me to run myself ragged and fall over dead, which is something I will do. I remember my first time I did Inktober one year. I did it all traditionally, like I drew it all with markers on paper, and I did one per day. I was like, I'll just draw one thing. I spent 8 hours a day drawing. I got nothing else in the house done. I was essentially just eating like crackers all the time. And I wanted to die. I essentially lived off of coffee and wheat thins, and it was not a good time. Yes. But yeah, so in a couple of weekends, actually the Saturday right before Easter, I have an interview for a graphic design position I'm really hopeful about in the town that Art and I are moving to. Really excited about that. What else? My brother's robotics team is going to the state competitions also the Saturday before Easter. So after the interview, I'm essentially gonna hopefully hop into somebody's car and catch a ride out to that, because that's in an hour away. And then it'll be Easter, which we're spending with my family, which will be super exciting. Every other weekend for the past 6 weeks, every other weekend, Art and I have either spent, we spent the first time was at my grandparents to go see them. And then we took a break for the next weekend, and then the weekend after that, we were going to my brother's first robotics competition. Start a riot, do it. I'm not on the Discord. I don't look at the Discord while I'm on stream. So if you cause any trouble, I won't be able to stop it until after. But then, so we went to his, like, the first district competition that they had on the other side of the state, and they won first place in that, which was super cool and awesome to see. And then I posted about that on my Instagram. And then we had a break for a weekend, and then the weekend after that, we went to another district competition. And I think they placed, I want to say they placed like 16th in that. saying nay because beers. Anyway, because science. And it would be terrifying if I said, hey, the Earth is round, and all of my followers dropped to like the 7 people watching right now. Anyway, so we had a weekend break, and then last weekend we went to the other regionals, and they didn't place as well as that, but because they placed first in the first districts that we got, they're still going to state, which is super exciting. You are a little bit. So there's actually this podcast I really like by a comedian that I like called Dan Cummins, and he does Time Suck. And I started listening to it back in, I want to say like 2016, 2015. I haven't listened to it in a very long time. Oh god, don't get political. And he does a bit. He does a whole Time Suck podcast where he researched Flat Earth, the Flat Earth conspiracy, and why people follow it, and who supports it, and like what's going on with that. And it was insane. Most of the people who support it and that people used as like credible references were celebrities. And people were like, the Earth is flat, and it was like Shaq or Shaquille O'Neal. Isn't that the same? I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Does that work? I think the moon is further away than 90 miles. I'm not very good with distance or facts, but I really want to say that if the moon was 90 miles away, we'd know. It would be much closer. It would look much bigger. It would fuck up our oceans a lot more. Oh yeah, Art and I were looking for a few video games that I could play on stream at some point, because I have to send in my Mac soon so it can go get fixed. Okay, so the moon is like 30, thank you. I do still owe an ARC stream, which is terrible. I love dinosaurs, okay? I do. Not the biggest fan of robots, but robot dinosaurs I can still get behind. Watching me try to play essentially a harder version of Minecraft. Art doesn't rage quit, but I will. I won't break things, but I'll curse a lot. We would have more problems than climate change if the moon was 100 miles away. But it would be so cool if it was 100 miles away and it was huge all the time. Like, that's where my brain goes. I am essentially Superman, who's just like, what if I just flew around the Earth in the opposite direction really fast and turned back time? Or when the meteor comes, he's like, what if I just push the Earth out of the way of the meteor? And Batman goes, if I had an entire week, a week wouldn't be enough time to explain to you all the reasons why we shouldn't do that. Can't think of anything else super, like, things have been very busy, but they've all kind of been very minor things. When I went to my brother's competition, it was a bunch of high schoolers, because he's in high school, he's in his last year of high school, and I got mistaken for a middle schooler. At most, someone was like, oh, you must be on the freshman robotics team. I'm like, nope, don't give me robots. I'm not, do not, nope. Am old. They were really confused. He also confused people further, because he's much taller than me, by going around and going, this is my little sister. And I wanted to punch him in the face a little bit. And he knew that, so he kept doing it. Thought it was the funniest shit in the world. He also thought it was hilarious when people got really confused because I don't act like a younger sister, or I don't act like a young person, I act like I'm 80. And I'm like, this freshman sure has some soft bone. But it was actually really, really fun. And I also got to see, no, I didn't get to see. I got to see my brother in his new work uniform, which is just a t-shirt and a hat. But he got a new job at a sandwich chain that I think is regional, so I'm not gonna say what it is. But he was working at a tiny, shitty little pizza place. But yeah. Oh, thank you. Art, you need to do a thing. You're being summoned. He's in the same room, so I can yell at him like that. Summon him to chat. What if later I reveal to Art that I am actually an 80-year-old woman and I've paid a bunch of... Oh, I need to turn the music down a little bit? Okay. I do have volume control on the music. He yells at me when I do that. Thanks, Livid Lemming. I hope you've been having a good week. I hope you're feeling better, and it's been great talking to you, so... That's true. I control the volume, and he hates the way I do it, because I use the volume control on the computer, and it's like, see this little slider that's built into Spotify? I just turn that up and down, and that makes the music go up and down, and he's like, no, you're destroying your audio. I'm like, how do I? No, but that's what the slider is for. If the slider was not for that, why would they? Por favor. Why? That is where I'm at. Oh, I tried to take the cap off of my energy drink, not realizing I left the cap off so that I could not have to take the cap off and could drink faster. Since the incident where Art drank like a third of my Monster Energy drink in less than 5 minutes, I have taken to exclusively drinking NOS, and which is good because NOS is my favorite energy drink. And Art hates it because it tastes like a sour tangerine, and he hates things like that. Art is a sweets man. He likes sweet and he likes savory, and I like bitter and sour things. That's good. He's really good at audio. I do trust him for that. So if he tells me it's destroying my audio, I believe it, but at the same time, I'm like, I have no other way to control it. I have no other way. I have no other options. You say that like people don't come to you and go, how do I do this? And you don't, and you give them solutions, or you look it up until you find a solution. Congratulations. Oh no. I don't know if you were here, but for my follower notification for the first few streams, it was really loud. I have since turned it down, but it was really loud, and it was like a really loud like techno noise, and it would scare the shit out of me. To the point when Art was he was playing some games with people online, and some of them were like mutual friends of ours, and he told them, he's like, oh, I have to get off. Ginger's about to stream, and we're in the same room, so I can't be talking. And they're like, oh, she's streaming? He's like, yeah. They're like, well, we should go check out her stream. He was like, oh, guys, if you do her follower notification, she'll scream. It'll scare the shit out of her. Yes, you were. It... so mean. Sunday, so Vector was talking about how we should get an insta-kill button for Art stream, and you press it and I just tackle him from like the side off camera out of nowhere. If we do that, I feel like it's only fair to instill like a scared Ginger button where it gets pressed, and then at any point for the rest of the stream, as often as it is pressed, Art can do something that will scare the shit out of me. Especially once I have a webcam. I'm sure you guys will absolutely fucking love it. It's a terrible, mean idea, but it's one we've bounced around before. I'm a very jumpy person. I'm a very paranoid, anxious, and jumpy person. And my jumpiness relates to none of those. I just get stuck in my own head. At work. At first, because we're allowed to listen to like music or audiobooks on our headphones as work, as long as we only have one earbud in. Which is fine. I can do that, and I'd sit there with my one earbud in, but I wouldn't be expecting anyone to talk to me, so my boss would like come up and she would say, oh, hey, Ginger. And I would jump like a good foot into the air almost. And she's like, maybe you need to start turning down the volume. I'm like, it is not that. To a point where she starts like doing that to me a little bit when I wasn't wearing headphones, and then she's like, "Oh, you are jumpy." Yeah. Yes, I am. I'm really excited for Mermaid though. I have big plans. I have big plans that I will probably not be able to finish. That's the thing, is I get really excited about these like month-long challenges, and I get all these plans, and I do all the planning, and then I finally do the project, and it takes forever, and I get super burnt out, and then I die. And now I have to do it while also packing to move. I'm super excited to move, you guys. There's gonna be a Qdoba like half a mile away from where our new apartment complex is. And it's very dangerous. Very dangerous for both Art and I. We're gonna get very fat. But there's also a ton of parks, so we just walk around. We also will be living a mile and a half away from the comic book store. The comic book store that I've been going to since I could walk. The comic book store that my dad has been going to since before I was born, to a point where like we're on a first name basis with the owner. And like he worries about us. Isn't it amazing? How are you not with the Qdoba? How are you not super fat? How do you just eat all the Qdoba all the time, just nom 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 nom? Yeah. So we're half a mile away from the Qdoba. We're about a mile and a half away from the comic book store. I am so excited for that, you guys. Art has made me promise that I can't go to the comic book store every single day. But he is also considering, like, because will do, I think, like, board game nights and Magic the Gathering nights on getting qualified to be a judge for Magic the Gathering and offering to volunteer to, like, judge, like, be essentially a rep for some of the games at the comic book store. That's fair. It is so dangerous. Art did not think. Okay, so when Art and I first started going out, he was like, "Oh, you love comics, so you go to the comic book store a lot?" And I was like, "No, I do not. I'm very poor." He was like, "Okay. I mean, you don't have to buy. You can just go in and look, right?" He's like, "You don't have to look at the comics. You can just see what's new out. You can go and visit people, blah blah blah." I go, "No. I can't go into the comic book store. I'm very poor." And he didn't fully understand it until he met my dad, who can and will drop $400 or $500 at the comic book store in one trip in 30 minutes. And he was like, "Oh, comic book stores are very dangerous for you people, aren't they?" Yes. So there's a comic book store. There's like a really nice kind of fancy-ish comic book store in the city where Art and I, near where we live, where we both used to live and where I went to school. And so my dad, when I first went over there for college, was like, "Oh, we can go to that comic book store." I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure, cool. That sounds like a good time." We went, he dropped his $500. A few weeks later, on my own, I went into that comic book store and they're like, "Oh, we know you." I was like, "Excuse me? I've never spoken to you before." They're like, "Where's your dad?" I was like, "Oh, that's why you remember me. All right." Every time I went into that comic book store, they had no idea what my name was. I don't even know if they knew my dad's name. They would just see me and they would recognize me as that one chick who came in with a guy with a leather jacket and like a graphic t-shirt, and then would just casually just buy half of the collectibles in the store. He's very picky about the ones he gets. He has collections, and he has, like, it's so hard to explain. I've had to explain it my entire life, because he has been like this my entire life. And I understand it's very cool, and I am very privileged to have grown up with a dad who is that obsessed with collectibles and video games and anime and all the things. But it's hard to explain without photos. He has legitimately thousands of action figures. Thousands. And they're not all in boxes. Some of them are ones that he bought like when they were new when he was a kid, and he's just kept really nice. He would take them out of the box and he'd play with them. So it's like part sentimental value, part just how cool the action figure is. he's like one part doomsday prepper, one part huge geeky nerd fan. My dad is a very cool person. I like him very much. Oh, see, that's not going to work because he has told me multiple times that he plans on being buried with it like a pharaoh. I don't know, he swings between I'm never going to die ever and when I do die, I'm gonna be buried with all of my Roberto Baggio jerseys in my coffin. And I'm gonna have almost all of my collectibles and comic books like sealed with me in a mausoleum or in a small tomb that is then surrounded by a larger family mausoleum. And maybe there will be a statue. Like, that's his plan. Okay? He wants to be buried with all of it. He might be like, you can have some of the favorite ones you guys used to play with. See, but my dad is very serious about his plans. My dad and I both have this thing where we both get super attached to very menial basic objects. I have given personality to a light bulb before and then cried when Art made me throw it away. My dad did that to his car. He had this, it was a used Jeep. He got it, I want to say, when I was 6 or 7. It was an old Jeep. It was like almost 20 years old by the time it broke down in 2020. And they had been taking it to this mechanic that they've been going to for years, and the mechanic finally said, it is going to cost you more. He's like, basically you can keep the frame, and the frame is starting to rust, so you really don't want to keep that. My mom said my dad was really quiet for like 3 days, and he would just stare at the car, and she thinks he cried. Now he has a new Jeep, and he loves it. He loves it. It's his new favorite toy. Because he got a brand new Jeep, and it comes with all of these accessories. He's got the headlights that look like angry eyes. It's pretty cool. My dad has Star Wars tattoos, you guys. He got Star Wars tattoos in the 90s before getting Star Wars tattoos was a thing that people showed off on the internet. He likes to say he helps pave the way for nerds to be. Which I don't think he's totally wrong about. But yeah. If you can't tell, he's the one where I get all of my artisticness from. He's also one of the people I get all of my paranoia from. Just cause he's a little paranoid. He made sure I had a zombie apocalypse plan for when the zombie apocalypse would inevitably come. Still have that plan. Do you guys want to hear my zombie apocalypse plan? It's good. It makes me sound psychotic, but it's good, okay? But I don't know if I should share it now or if I should wait for like a special stream, maybe on Halloween. He has also told me one of the scariest stories I've ever heard. I say all these really cool things about my dad, and he's a very cool person, but he was also a very strict parent. Because I tell these stories about my dad, and I would tell them to my friends in high school, and they would meet my parents, because my parents were very young when they had me, and they'd be like, oh, you must get away with everything. And no, I got away with nothing. Absolutely nothing. Anyway, so, zombie apocalypse plan. I'm not going to give super specific details on locations except for the main base area. So, if the zombie apocalypse occurs, the most likely zombie apocalypse scenario would be if a mutated rabies virus went out and became airborne. They're talking like it got out of a lab. Because rabies causes a spike in the adrenal gland. It causes, it's passed through saliva, and through other bodily fluids, and it causes heightened aggression. Like it innocent, yeah. Anyway, people don't die. They're just essentially just mindless, fighting, aggressive murder machines. And what you want to do is you want to find a place surrounded by water. Luckily enough, Art and I both live in a state, actually almost my entire family lives in the state, that's surrounded by water, but we are a peninsula, which means that we would either have to get a big enough group to close off the border, which would be really hard and probably impossible, or we would have to make camp on one of the islands. The best island for this choice is Mackinac Island, because Mackinac Island is already well established enough to be self-sufficient, especially in the winter when almost no boats can get there. It is one of the only places in America, if not the world, that has a composting system that can also compost meat and like human and horse waste. They also don't rely on cars to get around, which means everything is really close together. The reason why you want to go to a place surrounded by water is because rabies causes a natural reaction to be hydrophobic. Because one of the things that rabies causes is it causes you to, it does something to your nerves. I used to know all of the technical terms for this, but I haven't had to tell anyone my zombie apocalypse plan in a very long time. Not since I started dating Art, and he reminded me that maybe if I wanted to make friends, I shouldn't sound like a crazy person. Anyway, you want to go to a place surrounded by water because it makes you because rabies will make you hydrophobic, and because everything it does something to your nerves where you feel you constantly feel like you're in pain. Everything hurts. Everything is essentially a raw nerve, and every time you see water, every mammal will instinctively swallow. Well, that's true. They do have the emergency vehicle. They do have a fire truck, and they have an ambulance, and I think they have like one police car. Anyway, back to the thingamajig. Makes you hydrophobic because if you're a mammal and you see water, you will instinctively swallow, even if it's just a little bit. And that causes like a very painful reaction, especially when you have rabies. So it causes you to become hydrophobic because you're trying to avoid that instinctive reactive pain. If you move somewhere surrounded by water, it's harder to, it'll be harder for the rabies infestation to get to you. Also, Mackinac Island is far enough away that it's less likely to be reached by an airborne pathogen unless there's a tourist there that is carrying it. But Mackinac Island also has a fort. It's a very old fort, and it's not the best against, like for actual military use, but it's not terrible if you just need to stop a bunch of crazy people from getting in and biting the shit out of you, right? Yes, they do mention that on the tour. I always forget that there are emergency vehicles on Mackinac Island because I've never seen an emergency on Mackinac Island. Actually, I think I have vague memories of seeing the ambulance out doing stuff once. Anyway, back to the zombie apocalypse scene. So, you get to the Mackinac Island. The only issue is if the virus mutates to be passed through either water or mosquitoes. And I think with something with rabies, it's the way they say it's not likely to be able to be passed through water, but if it can be passed through mosquitoes, you're a little fucked over. But there are some people who do have a natural immunity to rabies. They're super rare, they're super hard to find, and you don't usually want to find out if you're immune to rabies the hard way. But yeah, it was a lot more in depth. My dad had me go over on how we would get to various members of our family so we could all form a group and head up to the island together, and how we would then barricade the island, or how we would get food supplies and da. But those memories have faded with time. Yeah, he got really into that prepper show for the first 3 episodes until they showed the dude who was wearing clothes he made out of deer skin and talking about how he made his kids like in animals when they were toddlers, and how the government was watching him. And then my dad was like, they've made this show into a reality television show. Well, there you go. That's another thing. If you're a doomsday prepper, you don't really want to advertise it on a TV show, because then everyone knows where all the good loot is. We've been playing video games for a while. We'll remember that. You'll get a nice big star on the map, and people will just start walking straight. He was looking for a prepping partner on Tinder. You know what, Spectre? Anytime I mention a place... Oh, sorry, I got too loud. Anytime I mention a place, it would not surprise me if you're like, I've been there. I could be like, oh, I've been to... I'm trying to think of like a remote place. There's like this really small Amish village between here and the town where my grandparents are. And I think it's called like Alomnia or something like that. It's like starts with an A, it's got an L, it's weird. Just from that little bit of information, Spectre, if you're like, oh yes, I've been there, they make lovely butter, I would just accept it. I don't think that looking for your prepping partner on Tinder is a good idea. I really don't. Tinder is not for dating, and it's not for finding apocalypse surviving partner. Sault Ste. Marie and Frankenmuth are cool, but it's Frankenmuth. Maybe, but I feel like your chances are very slim. I feel like you don't have good chances of finding a long-term doomsday prepper on Tinder. It has been forever since I've been to Frankenmuth. I think the last time I was in Frankenmuth, I want to say I was 12, for like a Girl Scout thing. I think you spell Sault Ste. Marie. It's like street salt, but then there's like an E at the end. I found out something interesting. So actually, in the dating realm, a unicorn is a thing. A unicorn is a bisexual girl who is willing to have an open relationship and a threesome. And they're called unicorns because they do not exist. That is what I've learned. That's what the internet has told me. It is French. Yeah, I remember when I was a freshman in college, it was in the dorms, and Tinder was around, but it wasn't as well known for just being a hookup site. It was still kind of like a dating thing when I was a freshman in college. It was in the dorms. And we had done like all the dorm orientation stuff, so we kind of knew some of the people in our building. And one of these girls, she'd just gotten out of a long-term relationship with her boyfriend from high school. And she's like, well, I just got on Tinder. And all of us girls were like, oh, okay, yeah, getting yourself back out there if you feel right. She goes, no, I'm just on Tinder to find friends. And we were like, what? I know they exist, I'm fully aware that unicorns like that exist. Don't ask me how, but I am aware. Anyways, yeah, we thought it was weird. We were like, but it's a dating site. She's like, no, it's okay. People want to just be friends. And then she brought a guy to the dorm that she had met on Tinder. He was another freshman who like lived a building over. And she was like, I told him that I just want to be friends, and he was okay with it. And we're like looking at him from like across the lobby, like rec area. And we're like, he looks very sad. We don't think he's okay with it. We think you kind of suck right now. Yeah. But you know what? We were 18, and when you're 18, you're supposed to make dumb mistakes like that. Dumb mistakes that either fuck up the rest of your life or just make you look back and go, maybe I was a little shitty, and you move on. You learn from it. there was a small motto. I was talking to my brother because he's going to college soon. So I'm sending him all of these terrible memes about college life. And it reminds me of like some of the bullshit stuff we would say in college, and me and my roommates, we had this motto. He might be, okay? Yeah, that mistake was not that bad. There are some bigger mistakes you can make in college. Anyway, like, my roommate's sophomore year of college, one of our apartment or house mottos was, you either become an alcoholic or you don't graduate. And another one was, remember, hookers don't get sick days. And that's what kept us motivated through finals. You heartbroken for him? If it's any condolence, we saw him hanging out with her for like a couple of weeks, and then we never saw him again. So I think he found better options or realized that she really was not going to date him. Look, they were 18. He learned some things. Okay. Is it choose two on any given day or choose two for the entire college experience? Because I did a little bit of all of those. I lived in the party house for a year. I did. I only got to go to one of those parties because they would have them on Saturday nights, and I would work every Saturday night at the shitty pizza place. They'd be like, we're having a party on Saturday, you'll be there, right? And I'd be like, I cannot, because I live there. I have to go to work. Yep. Hookers do not get sick days. They don't. Okay? That was one of the things that kept us going, that kept us from dropping out. Because, as I'm sure at some point every honest woman has ever had the thought of, I would have sex for Chinese food. And me and my other female roommate, we had both had that thought. And we expressed this thought to each other, and then we realized, oh, that's prostitution. Never mind. Like, we were totally okay with it until we were like, wait. It's not as good an idea as we are barely thinking through. Look, when you're getting 3 hours of sleep a night, okay, and you're paying a lot of money for a teacher to essentially have a circle jerk over a Weiwei, there you go. It wouldn't even have to be good Chinese food. We would say that, like, while eating the shitty Chinese food that was just slightly better than the cafeteria Chinese food on campus. Actually, I said I would have sex for Chinese food, and she thought for a minute, and she went, I would have sex for Thai food. And that was the conversation. And then we realized, like, oh, wait. Yep. It's not as easy or as fun as it looks. But then at the same time, like, I see stories about women who are like, I'll only have sex with him if he pays for my dinner. I'm like, well, that just seems shitty of you. Do it if you want to. Don't do it only if he buys you food. But then I'm like, yeah. Do you guys want to hear about how I was really shallow for all of a minute in college? It's related to food and dating. You know what? That's fair. You're just like, I could go order it myself, or I could have sex with someone and they could buy it for me. Would it taste better because you feel like you earned it? Look, Chinese food is expensive, okay? It depends on what they ask you to do. If it's just like regular hand stuff, like, sure, buffet Chinese food, fine, whatever. If they want to do it in your butt, sushi. They have to take you to sushi. Those are the levels. And I'm not talking just regular sushi, good sushi. Where you can't pronounce half the things on the menu. So you would think through the act of having sex so that you wouldn't have to think through the act of ordering, paying, and thinking about what you want to get. You just want someone who's just like, if you let me have sex with you, I will get you exactly what you want from the menu without you having to talk to anyone to order it, or pay for it, or even think about what you want. I'll just know. I'm glad that you worked in one direction. You're just like, I'll have sex with you if you do all of the food stuff. You're like, no, that's not how this is gonna work. Okay, but I'm gonna tell you the moment that I was briefly very shallow in regards to food and dating, in college. This was a guy who was not art, and you'll know it wasn't art because Art and I have very different food tastes, but we agree on like basic ingredients usually. So we both have this obsessive love of potatoes. It's not even like a stereotype. I truly love potatoes as one of my main ingredients for everything. Anyway, so I had a adult sleepover with this guy. He was very nice. He was a very nice young man. And it was a fine night. Nothing to write home about, but very fine. And we go to breakfast the next day at like this omelet shop place, right? And we're talking about what we're gonna order, and I was like, oh, I might get this hash brown casserole. And he was like, oh, I don't know, it's got a lot of potato in it. I was like, well, yeah, I love potato. He's like, oh, you do? Like, yeah, do you not like potato? I'd never met anyone in my life who didn't like potato. This boy did not like potatoes. How do you not like potatoes? How do you not? How? Anyway, so he tells me he doesn't like potatoes. To my credit, I do not get up and leave, okay? I was so confused and so scared, and I did question him a little bit. I was like, but why? What's it about potatoes? He was like, I don't know, they're just so bland, and they don't really add anything to a meal, and they're just kind of there, and I don't like the texture or how they're cooked, and I just don't like potatoes. And I was like, alright, you can have your taste, right? We order our food. I order the hash brown casserole, by the way, because I live off of spite. And if he was gonna kiss me later, he was gonna taste potato. Anyway, he gets up, like we order our food, and before our food gets here, he gets up to go use the restroom. And I immediately text my mom. I had never texted my mom on a date before, but I text my mom and my best friend at the time. and I texted them both separately, hey, I'm out with this guy. And my best friend at the time knew this person. Like, he was a mutual friend between us. And I was like, he just told me he doesn't like potatoes. And within minutes, both of them texted me back, it's not going to work. My mom said, it's not going to work. She was like, you just can't. You just can't. And my best friend was like, do you need me to come get you? She was like, do you need me to call you with a family emergency and come get you? She's like, barring this horrible fact you just told me about someone that I'm friends with, what are you doing? I went through the whole date, and it was fine. We saw each other for a few more days, and then I ended things with him. And while that was not the main reason why, was because he didn't like potatoes, it was a factor, a little bit, because I put potatoes in so much of my cooking. So much of my cooking. I just could not. I just could. I don't have many deal breakers. I don't have many deal breakers that aren't like instinctual red flags. But that was one of them. I feel really bad talking about it on stream. This has been the one time I've ever... Tyron and I have been around together long enough. He likes potatoes. We have very different food tastes, but again, we like the same basic ingredients. He's the only person alive who's gotten me to eat vegetables on a consistent basis, which he's very proud of, and he loves to bring up to my mother because she could never do it, and he's just like, Ginger eats broccoli now. And she's like, how did you do it? Witchcraft. This is not coming along too bad. Am I super happy with it? No, I'm never super happy. That is the answer. I'm not gonna sell art. Oh my god. If it... I just... And then... So how did you get into the porn industry? Well, I, started with organ donation. Oh, you've donated some of your organs? No. 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 So you've donated other people's organs? You could say that. How did you get them to agree? Who said they had to agree? Dun, dun, dun. I don't think if anything interesting happened at work, and it has not, because it's been work. That's how it is. I feel like I should make this. Well, you're talking about selling bodies. Oh, to be in old-timey Victorian England so that I could just be a grave robber and sell cadavers to the medical universities. Would make my life so much easier. Bye, thank you so much for lurking and hanging out. There's actually this comic series I was reading for a little while. Fuck, I can't remember what it's called right now. It's literally like in a box on the shelf behind me. But it's about Weird West. Ooh, that might be cool. But this, essentially like this 1960s Tupperware mom is also an assassin. She murders people. She's like a paid, and it's not like the super cool, like, I must kill this Russian diplomat to ensure the Cold War does not erupt into nukes. She's like murdering some old woman because her nephew wants the inheritance. Like, it's kind of like small town murders, but she's running her own business doing it. She used to work for like a murder agency. Now she's an independent agent. And she also, so she has to do all of her own body cleanup, which is not something she's very experienced with. and she has to kind of find her ways. And it's done in like this very kind of retro 1960s style. It's really cool. I have to remember what it's called. I can't remember. And it also kind of deals with some of the societal pressures of being a good wife and mother in the 1960s while also murdering people. I remember in the issue that I read, she murders this old woman after a Tupperware party because she's posing as like a Tupperware sales representative. And nobody buys any of the Tupperware at the Tupperware parties because that's not what Tupperware parties were really for. And so she murders the old woman and is like, oh shit, because she like has to chop her up. She's like, shit, what the fuck do I do with the body? Because she can't just like tote it out to her car in the middle of the goddamn afternoon. So she cuts it up into a bunch of little pieces and she seals it all up in the Tupperware that she had as examples for the Tupperware party. And she takes it out and she like throws all the individual pieces of closed sealed up Tupperware in the swamp. It's good. Amway? Whoop. I have a question. What is Amway? I know what the Amway Grand is, and that is a big fancy hotel in Grand Rapids. I think it's also a bus station? I don't go outside very much, you guys. I'm not gonna know what everything is. It makes me really happy still to see when we like go by old buildings how it says like Acme products. Oh, okay. Yeah, my family would do like the Pampered Chefs type stuff, or at least my mom would for a little while because her mother did it. And really, they didn't do it to make money. They did it so they could get discounts on on the cooking stuff, on cookware. That's the fucking word, cookware. And it worked out. The thing with Pampered Chef is it's either something really, really good or it's something awful. Like their garlic presses, fucking amazing. Okay, their spatulas, not usually the best unless you go for the pricier ones. My grandmother, when she had two daughters, so when the first daughters, because they had like a relatively large age gap, when her first daughter started going into middle school / high school, my grandmother became a Avon saleswoman so that she could kind of watch to make sure her daughters weren't spending all their money on makeup. She could get a discount for it, and she could also make sure that they were getting like good products but not like insane colors. Kind of as a way of a mom to like monitor the makeup her girls were wearing. And she kept doing it because then like her second daughter got into high school, and by the second time her second daughter was in high school, I was born, and she was like, well, she's just gonna get into high school someday too, so I might as well. So she just stayed being an Avon lady so that I could also get makeup. I think she finally stopped being an Avon lady, I think in 2019. She was like, I'm not doing it anymore, guys. We're like, but you still have other granddaughters. She's like, and they're not going into high school for like another 10 years. One of you be the Avon ladies. I don't even think Avon does the discounts anymore because so many people would essentially do that where they wouldn't sell anything. They just wanted the discounted makeup. Now you do it on like a point system where you earn so many points or something and then you can get a discount. I don't know. That might have been one of the reasons why my grandmother stopped. This shading is looking awful. I don't like it. No way. Restart, try again. I didn't even know that Avon was like a door-to-door sales thing until I was in middle school and I saw Edward Scissorhands for the first time, because the mom in that movie sells Avon door to door, and that's how she finds Edward Scissorhands. She tries to sell Avon makeup to the big scary house at the end of the lane. Do you know they have sex toy parties? I found out about that before it was semi-common knowledge amongst the high schoolers in my class, because my mom had one at our house. I wasn't there for it. I found out about it later because it was for her best friend's bachelorette party, and my mom was one of the maids of honor, because I think her friend had two. And so they had the sex toy party at our house upstairs, and one of the sex toys that they showed was a portable stripper pole. Super dangerous, don't ever buy one. Because stripper poles have to be screwed in. Anything that can hold your weight is not supposed to just be like squished in between your floor and your ceiling. That will fall over, you will die. Anyway, I found out about it because a couple years later, I was laying down on the couch in the living room, and I looked up at the ceiling, and there was a dent in our ceiling in a perfect circle. I had never remembered seeing that before. I was like, what would make that? I thought it was a shadow, but I was like, it could only be a shadow if the dent is there. And eventually I asked my mom. Took me a little bit, because I was like, what if it was something I did? What if I like threw a ball too high or something and dented the ceiling, and I pointed out and I get in trouble? But I brought it up to her eventually. Like, why is there a dent in our ceiling? And she told me because they had put the stripper pole there in the living room, the portable one, and it had like, they had suctioned it so hard, or like shot it up so hard that it left a dent in the ceiling. That's how I knew what sex toy parties were. I think that dent is still there. Should check. They had all of the like walls and windows redone. I wonder if they managed to get rid of the dent. Well, we didn't live in that house when I was conceived. We moved into that house when I was 7, so nice try. Good effort. They pulled too hard on the pole. Stripper weighed just a little too much for a pole that was not screwed in. Did you know that stripper poles rotate? That they're like motorized and they rotate? For years I tried to figure out how they didn't get like weird burns on their hands from sliding around and around on the stripper poles all the time. They just have to hold themselves there. It rotates. It made me feel so much better. But apparently it was like finding out the tooth fairy isn't real for some guys. Yep. I have friends who took stripper classes. They're not quite, they're pole dancing lessons, and they do it for exercise. And it's pretty cool. It is something I'd be interested in doing, but they're super fucking expensive. And also apparently it's hard to do. Give me one moment. It actually does like do an insane amount of like workout and cardio to be able to do that kind of stuff, and I think that's really cool. Except, so you take like a class and you essentially learn like this different moves for different levels of the class that you're in, and you put together your own kind of routine and you practice it. And then, as with every dance class, you have a recital that you invite friends and family to watch you swing around on a pole. Which is very confusing to me. I think if I took pole dancing lessons, I would just tell my mom. If I were gonna tell anyone in my family, it would just be my mom and maybe my aunt. And I would not invite them to a recital. Some people are very open with that kind of thing, so more power to them. Something really cool, one of my coworkers is actually taking like the aerial dance lessons with the big circus hoop that like the circus performers will do. And she thinks it's really fun. I've been interested in doing that for a while, but again, classes are expensive, and I'm not good with exercise. But it seems so cool. So once Art and I are more settled, it might be something I look into to see if they offer that kind of like class at the college. Wanted to run away and join the circus all the time as a kid. That was like my dream, was be a circus performer. My parents did not want me to run away and join the circus, as most parents do not. What is this song? This song should not be on my playlist, and I don't like it. I need to go through this playlist again. Figure out where the songs are. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks at work. I just finished We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix on Audible, and it's fantastic. I've been listening to a lot of Grady Hendrix's stuff because I listened to his book Horror Store, and I know I'm saying that weird. It's got umlauts in it, yeah. Anyway, and it's really good, and it's a bit more of like he does kind of like some dark horror, like dark comedy type horror. And he also wrote a book about kind of like the history of the modern horror novel, which I just started listening to, which is really cool. And he talks a lot about kind of like some of the stuff that influenced him and what influenced the genre. And he talks about the artists too, because part of that was really big with horror novels was the art that was provided on covers, because they were just like drugstore novels, so the cover art was really important to catch someone's interest. It was really yeah, so I listened to his book Horror Store, which is really good, and then I listened to his book My Best Friend's Exorcism. So Horror Store takes place in a kind of like off-brand IKEA in, I want to say like 2019, 2018 time. Like, iPhones are around, but they're not super prevalent. And some of the employees there stay late on one shift to find out if there's been because there's been some vandalism in the store, to find out like who's causing it. And it turns out, spooky ghosts. And a bunch of stuff happens, and I don't want to give a bunch away. And then the other one I listened to next was my best friend's Exorcism, which takes place in 1989, and it references a lot of like stuff from the 80s and stuff that's very like kind of like classic pop culture, and also some little less classic pop culture and more just very niche 80s type stuff. And it takes place in South Carolina. And it talks about kind of what it was like growing up as a young woman in the South in the 1980s, in both the rich area and the poor area, like what was expected of you, some of like the things that could happen, and it's also, got the whole exorcism. So there's some demonic possession and all that crazy stuff, which is really cool. And then the We Sold Our Souls is about a 47-year-old musician. She used to be in a band, it was called Dirtwork, and it was like a metal rock band in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, and it takes place in, I think, 2018 or 2019. It's more of like a conspiracy, like a little bit of like a sci-fi horror, a bit more. And it talks about capitalism and social media and kind of like how society is kind of just becoming everyone being a little like complacent and dredged up in like technology and just becoming like comfortable where they are, not trying to create something or do something with their lives, all while she's being like hunted and her friends are being murdered. It's really good. I would definitely recommend both of them. He does play to some of the tropes. He plays to some of the older tropes too, where there's like minor sexual stuff, but none of it is like, the book should definitely be kind of rated R, but there's no like sensual sex scenes. It's just like, hey, this happened, it's uncomfortable, it sucked, okay, and it moves on. But in a much more well-written way. The characters are very three-dimensional. Like the main characters, you don't always like them. You don't always like the choices they make or parts of their personality. They fuck up. But they do, and people die. It's one of the few like actual horror stories I've heard where main minor characters do die. And they die very gorily. Like, I was listening to some of these at work, and I was like, I might throw up on my desk. Alright, just power through. Clench your jaw. And it's good. It's not gory in an unrealistic way, either. They're really good. I really like them. I definitely recommend them. Yeah, a lot of horror narrations I listen to and horror stories, people don't actually die. I think it's something that at least authors are, or if people do die, it's not usually a character you get really attached to. It's just definitely kind of like a minor character where they're made to be killed. While in the Grady Hendrix books, they're characters you get attached to and you don't expect that they're going to die. It's good. Talking about it makes me want to start listening to them again, but I can't do that on stream because it's copyrighted. You know what? Even if I don't finish emotes today on stream, we're doing mermaids tomorrow. It's 10. Emotes will still get done, they just might get done off camera. And then there will be speed paints later. Hooray for speed paint. Why is this novel essentially naked? Has no shadow. That should not be how it is. Also, for a male writer, he writes women really well. I'm pretty sure Grady Hendrix is a man. I've seen photos, and they do appear to be identifying as male. I don't know what. Anyway. They use some very good female narrators for the audiobooks, and they write women really well, and not in like a, well, I guess this is what I've expected women to be written as. How often are they gonna mention their own boobs? Like, and they don't put a lot of description into their characters to kind of leave it up to the reader to very kind of self-insert, but they are told from the third person perspective. It's good. So if you can't handle gore, don't. But I'm not gonna make Art listen to them because they get very gory, and if you can't tell, he has a bit of a weak stomach. That's okay. Thanks for the lurk. I hope ARC has been going well. I've been talking about books that I like listening to lately. They're all horror. My entire Audible library is horror stories. I should probably branch out. I used to read a lot of fantasy stuff, but I like scary. Okay. Am I too loud? Can I talk in a whisper? And then this will become an ASMR stream where I just gently, very slowly, like color in just happy little shadows, happy little shadows. By ASMR stream. So when I first heard about ASMR street like videos, I did want to do them. I was like, oh, that sounds kind of like a really cool performance art thing. It sounds like a little bit similar to like almost a video capture of an environment of a liminal space, where it gives you that kind of like weird, lonely, tingly feeling. You started doing the Audible thing. What are you listening to on Audible? And I have books to recommend to you. But then I started looking at what ASMR videos were coming out, and it was a lot of girls who were just whispering sensual things while wearing like crop tops. And I was like, I don't want to do that. If I'm gonna do ASMR, I want it to be weird stuff. I want it to be 5 hours of me just click-clacking on a computer. Straight up 5 hours of footage of that. And then another video where you legit watch me mow the lawn. And then that's okay. I didn't think you were suggesting anything. I was just more just like talking to myself almost. I would want to make it weird art. If I did an ASMR stream, it would be weird art. No one would be prepared. Dragon Blood, book 4. I've never heard of that. I do know that like fantasy, I think maybe it was the Dragonlance series. I think that's one of Art's favorite series is Dragonlance. Or I could be thinking of something else. It's very popular on Audible. I've been listening to Grady Hendrix. Oh, you don't mostly listen to fantasy? Do you like horror, At? Do you like dark comedy and horror? Okay. You read the Grady Hendrix stuff? No, not so much? Okay. That's okay. We can still be friends. I'm not gonna lie. I need horror buddies, you guys. I need them. Okay. So it's like the kind of horror stories where they get so ridiculous that they're funny, but they're still a little scary. Like yeah. And they're not really psychological thrillers as much. I know that so I did like the free 3-month trial. Kind of like the original Night of the Living Dead in black and white, because I've seen that. I haven't seen any of the remake. But a little bit like the creeping horror with like a little bit of gore. A little bit, yeah. I would definitely recommend Horror Store. And I'm actually gonna type it into the chat really quick. It's spelled. Oh, I can't. I don't know how to. Okay. So that's how they spell it, but there's an umlaut, which is like the German 2 dots above the O in store, and there's no E at the end, because it's supposed to be like Scandinavian. And I did the Audible free 3 months of Audible Plus because I wanted to get the credits so I could get some books. And they have them on the Plus catalog, so if you have it, they're free. And it's great. They have that one, and then he also has My Best Friend's Exorcism, and We Sold Our Souls. If you like references to like 80s rock, 2-hour commute every day. Like, is that one way or is that your whole commute? If you're driving 2 hours to get to your job one way, what are you doing? Oh, okay, that's the whole commute. Okay, these books are like, I think Horror Store is only like 4 hours long, 3 or 4 hours. I think My Best Friend's Exorcism was, I want to say 7 hours long. And then We Sold Our Souls, I think, is 5 or 6 hours. So like decently. You know, that's fair. You're just like, I'm almost done. I don't care. Pay me and then give me my retirement. I can respect it. Do you have plans for after retirement? Like, have you already started making those? So, you're just like, no. Please tell me that you told him no. Oh my god. Honestly, that's pretty much my answer. Anytime anyone asks me if I give a fuck at my job. You want to drive a mining truck up north. Why? Like, isn't retirement supposed to be chill? Do you want to drive a mining truck? What's different? But why? Okay, that's pretty amazing, but that doesn't sound like retirement to me. That's amazing, but yeah, it does not sound like retirement. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So you're just retiring from that job. Okay. I thought you were retiring. I have a hard time with ages. I'm not good at estimating them at all. I think part of it is because I'm so young looking, and so everyone assumes I'm much younger than I am, and then I do the same thing to everyone else. I thought my mom was still in her 20s. It's like, yeah, it's an army pension, so it's not much, but it's. I hear it used to be decent, but I don't know anymore. But listen to Horror Store. And if you like Horror Store, I think you would like We Sold Our Souls more than, 2K a month isn't bad. It's definitely not really anything to live off of. But it's not terrible. But if you do listen to them, let me know. We can talk about them. I need someone to talk about these books with. I can't share them with Art. He doesn't like them. He's not broken. People are allowed to have their own taste. Both my mom and my brother are complete babies when it comes to horror. Art was forced to watch scary movies from much too young of an age. My mom and my brother are just kind of babies. Dark humor doesn't always have to be connected to horror. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The jokes that Art makes on his stream are tame compared to the awful jokes he and I will make to each other in private. I want you guys to remember that you're all hearing the filtered thoughts. Good that Art doesn't like as much horror as I do. He kind of reins me in a little bit. Without him, I would own too many skulls and I might have become like a Hot Topic cliche. Just reins me in a little bit where he's like, alright, we can also have normal decorations on our walls and not a print of a skeleton. Oh, you bought a print of a Siamese two-headed baby twin skeleton. Oh, joy. Oh, it's going up in the bedroom. Oh, fantastic, Ginger. See, he would not let me do things like that. Actually, when we first moved into this place, I did get some frames to put art up in. And they weren't all my stuff. Some of it was like stuff I'd gotten in art trades back in college, which are really fun. But one of them is of like it's a print of like a scratched up kind of, it's a black and white print. And it says, or I think it says like, eat trash or something like that. I cannot put art into a frame. Yes, I get the pun, I do. But actual art works in the frame. I think it was something like, we all die fast, eat trash when you can. It was something like that. And I thought it was funny. And I put that in a frame and I put it up on the wall of our bedroom on my side of like the bedroom, right? Because I was gonna put it up with a bunch of other like really weird art prints. Ones that I really liked. He was like, great, it's the raccoon butt on our bedroom wall where we sleep. And I was like, yeah, isn't it great? He's like, no, I did not want this in the space where I'm supposed to feel calm. And then it turns out that some of the walls in our apartment have that gross paint that like you can't stick adhesive things to. So the sticky tape, what are they called? The things you can stick in them, and then you pull the sticky tabs, and then you pull them to pull them off the wall. What are those called? The sticky tabs. That's what I'm just gonna call them for right now. That are everywhere now. I remember when they were a commercial on TV, and my grandpa was like, "No, it'll never work. Why don't you just use a nail? Leave your pictures up." Now everyone fucking uses them. The tax strips? I don't know. The zip and click and lock. The zip and click and lock. There we go. The next place I will use nails. I'll use nails and art wires, and that shit ain't coming down unless I want it to. Ah ha 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 ha. Command strips! Thank you! Does your ear ever get itchy when you wear your headphones for too long, or is that just me and my shitty headphones? Thank you, Art, for your wisdom. Oh, I'm sorry you're feeling extra sick. Told you not to eat all that. I told you so moment. There are no high roads here. And expert Googling skills. A lot of the conversations Art and I have is me trying to explain something and I can't remember the name, and eventually he understands the thing with the strips and the thing and the hand motions that I'm doing. And then he would go to say something like, "You mean command strips?" And I go, "Yeah!" That is a lot of our conversation. I'm very good with my words until it comes to names, and then I don't remember anything. Names and dates and geography. I did use them. You know the thing with the guy and the person and the things. You know the thing that we did that one time. The thing that we did that one time that was really fun. it's pet names. I'm really good at remembering pet names. I can remember the names of all of the pets I've ever had and the ones that my roommates all had. And some of the pets that, like, my friends had. Yes, but imagine you're having that conversation with another person. I would do the same thing to my mom. I did that to my mom all the time growing up. Where I would try and talk to her. And I'd be like, you remember that thing that we did that one time with, that person from your work? And she would look at me, she goes, what are you talking about? And I try to go into more detail, I'd be like, your coworker with the hair. She had blonde hair and it was in like a short and it had bangs. She had bangs and she wore a blue top and we went to a place and it was a museum, I think. And she's like, who are you talking about? I don't think we did this together. Yep. Talking to people. The true hell of living. Oh, so I was at work. I was at my job. I was talking to my boss, who is the sales manager. I'm the administrative assistant, and there are three other people like in the office. One of them, he does, he's like the one of the production managers, and the other two are inside sales. They're all very nice, but they were talking about doing outside sales, and my boss, Mrs. Robinson, she's in like her 30s or 40s, and she's talking to us, and she's like, I could never do that. She's like, some people thrive off of like getting a door slammed in their face 10 times, and then on the 11th time they finally make a sale. Some people, like the general manager that we have, who's also a very nice guy, like he just thrives off of that one sale. I could never thrive off of that one sale. And one of the inside sales representatives, she's in her mid-20s, closer to my age, and she's like, I would probably get the door slammed in my face once and I would cry. And I was right there and I go, if they slam the door in my face, I would set their building on fire. I was like, they can politely tell me no, but if they, and that's fine, but if they can't be polite about it and they slam the door in my face just because I'm trying to do my job, I'm setting their building on fire. And my boss was like, so you're never going to outside sales? I was like, yep, that's perfectly fine with me. Do not ever send me on that. They thought it was very funny, and I was like, haha, you think I wouldn't? Today I found out how to look and see who is on the stream and who's in chat and all the things. Art kept telling me that was a thing that I could do. And I didn't believe him, and I figured out how to do it on mobile on my phone. I still have not figured out how to do it on the desktop. I used to teach people technical support. I don't remember how to block people on Twitch, so don't do anything worth blocking over, because I'll have to stop the whole stream and then figure out how to do that just for you. I used to know how to do it. I've had to do it before, but it is gone from my mind now. I shouldn't advertise that, should I? Probably a bad thing to tell you. I feel like sometimes I'm like Hagrid in the first movie of Harry Potter, where he's like, I shouldn't have told you that. I should not have told you that. That's not what Hagrid sounds like, but that was my attempt. Oh, and one of the cool things about Horror Store the book is that it very much captures like a little bit of like an anti-capitalist and retail narrative, where it's like, this is why working in retail sucks beyond just, you know, possession and ghosts. It sucks. Don't work in retail. He's an author that's very good at encapsulating human misery. Which I think is good in a horror author. It is probably something that you want. I don't know how much blending in I should do of these bits. Probably not very much, because noodles have a very... But I will do it on... I got really excited and my throat kind of hurts now from talking so much, you guys. Can you tell I don't talk very often? My throat hurts just with this amount of interaction. We're gonna turn this way down. Oh god, this bowl of ramen has some issues. Oh god. Up this down a little. Up like 60? I feel like that still makes the shadows. Drop this to back to 50. Drop this 30. Plug in my computer so it doesn't die in the middle of the stream. This back. Yeah, it's not too bad. Alright. Oh. Now we're gonna do one more layer of dark color. And it's like 5. Like I talked about earlier, I've been getting ready to do mermaid. I've been doing a lot of sketches. I'll do like one sketch a day on my lunch break, and then I've been doing the line art and the inking of them from home, doing traditional sketches and line art, but then I'm going to color them digitally. I'm really excited to try that out. Oh, guys. This song won't put me to sleep at all. Oh, but for part of that mermaid redraw, or part of that mermaid series that I'm going to be doing, the first 10 of them are going to be redraws from my first ever mermaid that I did back in 2019. Which is insane to think that was 3 years ago. And my drawings were fucking awful. Jesus Christ, what was I thinking? I have improved a lot. I am by no means where I want to be, but I'm realizing that I have improved a lot. Which feels really good to see, just even with the sketches. doing animations, I want to do like the lo-fi animations where it's like lo-fi music to study to, and it's just a very long animation of someone studying, and maybe it's on like a 3-minute animation on loop. But I kind of want to do ones where like people are like laying in bed, and it's slowly the sun sets, and slowly the sun rises again. That's what I really want. Big stretch time. Ugh. Almost out of my energy drink. Not too tired to fall asleep yet. I'm waiting for these streams, I am also recording on my other computer so I can make speed paints with the same footage, and I'm waiting for it to like catch up for a hot minute. What's the blue bit in the caps for like soda bottles and energy drinks? Is that like the sealer thing, that plastic bit that it seals the bottle? Probably. I just think it's weird. I like Jones brand soda. If you've never had a Jones soda, that's really sad. But they're a Canadian brand of soda that they sell here in Michigan. And they make really good sodas, but on the cap, on the inside of the cap, they have little fortunes. So like, for little sayings. And I used to collect them. I used to have like hundreds of them as a kid because one of my aunts loved Jones soda and she got me into drinking Jones soda. They do all different kinds of flavors. I think their best flavors are either the blue raspberry lemonade or the green apple one, but their root beer is also a flavor. There we go. Sorry for the delay in content for a hot minute. I really haven't put out any speed paints in a while. I still have to finish transcribing the one big long one that I did, and then I have to put together all of them. And Art is a little upset with me because there's a lot of space in the computer. I'm doing his emotes. Take off a sweatshirt. Getting a little toasty in here. I do all these emotes, and then Art says he doesn't want ramen themed emotes anymore. I kill him. Why you no draw the line I draw? But okay, that's fine. Draw the line now. Draw it here. Why is the pen not working? Okay. Give me one moment. Sorry about that. I had to do a quick restart. My computer decided, well, my tablet pen decided to stop being red on the tablet. So as you can imagine, I had a few issues with that. Okay, that's not the color I was using. It does make me hungry. I just want good, spicy ramen broth. I've been watching Food Wars while Art and I eat. Like, we'll eat together and we'll watch an episode of an anime. And we've been rewatching Food Wars, and it makes me want to make all of the food that they make. We just did the episode where him and his dad have another food battle, and they do the breakfast stuff, and his dad makes a breakfast ramen, and I'm like, oh, I want it. Give it to me, I want it. Yes, I want to do a series where I cook all of the things from Food Wars. I know it's been done by a billion other people before, but I want to do it just so I can be like, I made the food. It is delicious. Watch me do it. Nom nom nom. true, you do. And I would not have that. So I'd have to like look up the recipes and see other people who did like copycats of the recipe, and then kind of like base like what ingredients and tools I have on what recipes I can do. Also, some of it is to like personal taste. Like, I don't want to make his omelet souffle because I don't like tomato sauce. I don't like tomatoes with my. No bueno. Do not enjoy. And it's doing this thing again. Alright. Oh yeah, the one where it's like potato and onion wrapped in bacon and he like slow cooks it in the oven. Oh, I want it. Okay, so the computer is again not picking up my pen. And I think the computer is overheating. So it looks like I may have to call the stream now because I can't be having my computer overheat while I'm trying to draw pictures and have to stop the stream every 5 minutes to restart it. So I'm gonna call the stream here. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you, Livid Lemming and Inspector and Tryhard and everyone who tuned in but wasn't in chat. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna try hard to take care of my computer. I also want to thank my Patreons, Gacko the Pony, Team Fixer is, and Livid Lemming. And if you want to check out some of my other artwork, you can see my Instagram at Gingersnap Draws. I also have speed paints up on my YouTube channel, also Gingersnap Draws. I will be streaming tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. We are doing mermaids. No more emotes on stream. No more stream emotes. On to mermaids. Woo! Yeah. Alright. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.